Way better. Okay, let's call Dave. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Let's see, Dave. Yes. Hello.
Oh, hi.
This is gonna be dumb as hell. Okay. So my what's her name? Stephanie, who's my Streamline Studios rep.
Hmm.
I go, did I get in trouble because I said OnlyFans? She goes, TikTok can be so weird like that. And
TikTok's
so
really strict, and I think they've got a lot of like, I don't know. I know a lot of people who've gotten taken down, even like drinking on stream and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
that's why
wait,
I have this cup.
Dave, how do I?
smart.
Yeah, no, it looks like soda. Okay, wait, how do I turn my camera around?
Oh, I would assume that
God
it's probably the
fucking.
same. Yeah.
Okay. Oh wait.
What are you
No,
using?
I'm using Instagram now on my tablet.
Oh, uh, so
I would assume that there's a video setting too, like when you're streaming, that'll let you do that.
yeah, if you click
You
on
know what?
yourself, there's a little arrow icon. You can spin it.
Like the turning. Like wait. Oh no,
Yep.
that's my house. No, I meant like to turn this around.
To
You know
mirror
what?
it, basically.
Oh, to mirror it. Yeah.
If it's not one problem with live, it's a fucking other one. Oh, Jesse's asking what happened to MILF Hotline on TikTok. Jesse, I got in trouble. I mentioned OnlyFans as a joke. And here we are tonight. I had double checked with Stephanie, my representative, and I was like, shit, can I move this to Instagram? She goes, yes, you can. So here we are.
And don't forget
Um,
to appeal it too.
I did. I already hit appeal.
Perfect.
And I was like, is it because my shirt says fuck? And then immediately when you were like, no, you said something about OnlyFans. And I was like, fine. But like I said, and I'm going to say it here on Instagram because I know they don't care. OnlyFans is not just for porn.
Wait, they might care. You'll see. You'll find out, I guess.
Okay. If I get cut off again,
There's
I'll just
people
start.
that upload Minecraft videos to Pornhub. It's like,
Yeah.
You were going to move to Twitch. Anyway, so I was saying how I met Austin. So there was a Facebook group. It was like EDM for Denver friends, right?
yeah, I think so. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's how we met. And I had already been living in Denver. And people were giving shit to Austin saying, don't come to Denver, we're full. And I messaged Austin and I said, so for everyone that's joining, I'm talking about how I know our guest host, Austin. I messaged Austin and said, don't listen to them. Denver is not full. They don't even know what it's like. I'm from LA. And then
Which I
Austin,
still hate that opinion floats around. People like to hate on Denver for some weird reason. I don't know because I love it here.
yeah, exactly. I didn't leave because I didn't like it. You know what I mean? I left because money just wasn't working out for me there. But love Denver. So anyway, so then Austin was like, I want to make this friend group and I want to call it Bass Camp, like bass music. Would you be interested in like kind of co-moderating it with me? And I said, yes. And that's how we met Kate, Alba, Marshall,
Ariel,
Jess,
Jess, yeah.
Julian.
Hmm.
So like all my besties still. Actually, I'm going to text Alba right now and be like, hey, we're live on Insta instead today.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I've kept up with a few people, but I think COVID kind of dropped off a bit with a few of the people. But yeah, I've seen that you all have stayed close and kept up and stuff like that. And I of course follow everybody and have kept up with people's journeys and stuff. But
Well,
yeah, I mean it was really cool to have that.
everyone's living their best life, and I'm really happy. Like Marshall moved back to, Michigan, and I hated to move back here because I do feel like all my besties are out there. So anyway,
Hmm.
so because you're on the show today, I'm wearing my special candy. Are you ready? I'm wearing our Base Camp 5281.
Wow, is that from back? Is that from like prior to you? Yeah, it's
That's
a
when I made, and then
nice,
our Global Dance Fest.
very cool. R.I.P. does not exist anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
It was kind of falling apart though,
Which
right?
there's now no active festival in Denver, which is crazy. It's just Red
Uh,
Rocks at this point.
you guys have to come out here. Hard
Oh,
stuff.
y'all have plenty.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we'll get right into. Wait, real quick before we talk about it, can I download live replays of this live as well?
So as
Probably.
soon as it's done, it's going to ask you to share it
Okay.
or save it as soon as
Okay.
you end. Yeah.
Perfect. Gonna do that. All right. So today we're talking about adult diagnosis. I can be a little bit, probably a little bit less careful about my language on Insta, even though I'm still going to be good. My platform is all about empowering people through journeys, not shitting on them, which, you know, both of you guys know me as a, you know, calls them as I see them kind of a person. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because I feel like a lot of people weaponize, you know, or I'm sorry, let's go back. They like to excuse their bad behaviors and instead put it in the form of a diagnosis. And I don't think that that's very fair because, like, you're going to share your journey in a second. There are a lot of people that are actually going through shit. And it not that, and I've known you for a long time, not that you're even, you know, using it as an excuse for bad behavior. I'm just saying, like, I have some close friends recently that are like, well, I'm sorry, I'm saying it like that. It's because I'm autistic. That's not fair. You know what I mean? If you want to be blunt and rude, go ahead. I can take it, but don't use that as an excuse or other people
Right.
using it as an excuse like, oh, I can't be sober anymore because I'm autistic.
Right.
So I want to hear about your journey because I have so many questions and I sent you the some of the questions, but really talk about your journey because afterwards I want to ask you a couple things like, you know, how does it make you feel when people go, oh, I'm autistic, and you're like, but actually I think I might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No. And
you have the
yeah.
forum.
Yeah. And just to preface, I've got a little one here, so it'll I'm here as long as he's,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
cooperative and all that. So if you hear any kind of noise or anything like that, that's what's going on here. But
We're on
yeah.
the time. Also, yeah, so since I've seen you,
Yeah.
you became a dad, so
I
congratulations.
did. Yeah. Yeah. I have a 2-year-old, and it's you know,
Oh my
it
God,
is a
he's already 2.
fun journey. He looks exactly like me, and you know,
Oh,
he's a little white dude just like me. So,
also,
well, I'm
Dave, just so
tall,
you
but
know, Austin's wife, Jasmine, who I'm just giving the biggest shout out to, is the most beautiful, like, sexy woman I've seen in forever. So if she's listening, please.
she's awesome. She's really going for it right now. Keep her in your thoughts. She's going. She has quit her corporate job and is building her own business
Atta
in the
girl.
healing space and really stepping into
Way
her
to
power
go.
right now. So
Oh, good. We
it's
can get her
really
on.
exciting, and I might be doing the same to help grow her business too. So it's kind of a crazy time right now. So
I love it. We'll all cross
yeah.
promote each other and get rich.
Yes, we will. Yes.
Okay, go ahead and share your journey because I know you're on borrowed time.
Yeah. So, yes. So, you know, just like many people, neurodivergent people, you know, I've gone most of my life kind of misunderstood, struggled to make friends, struggled to, you know, connect with people in the way that society deems normal, right? And I had some revelations about my life and some things like that which have caused me to self-reflect, you know, get some therapy, get some, you know, just do some more digging about me and my life and the way I approach the world. And you know, I've always known myself as being, you know, ADD, you know, and I always kind of just, you know, laughed it off as me being a little hard to focus and an interesting character. But like, I think I've subscribed to the thing that a lot of people have of like, oh, everybody today is neurodivergent or everybody's whatever, right? And so there's always been a part of me that's like, it's just a small piece of who I am. It doesn't really actually affect, you know, how I see the world that much. It's just a little difference of the way I am, right? So I think conversely, I think sometimes what happens, like I've actually not been formally diagnosed with autism, but I'm looking into more and more content and resonating with a lot of content around, you know, a more mild form of autism, which I've honestly never really considered before. Like autism to me was, you know, a much more like severe, you know, you need care, constant care, that kind of thing. I never really, for whatever reason, I never considered the fact that there's like a high functioning form of autism.
I want to add to that
Yeah.
I feel that there is a lot of times, like there was, you know, a big thing with Asperger's for a long time and autism being related to not being engaging, right? Like not looking someone in the eye, not having a lot of emotion about something, overstimulated. And I'm also finding that, like, I didn't even know what the term neurodivergent meant until recently.
Yeah.
And I'm really appreciating that as a literal spectrum
Catch-all.
on the spectrum, right? Yeah. Okay.
Or I like neurospicy. I like that because it kind of
Yeah.
just, that's been
That came
floating
up
around.
in my chat
Yeah,
GPT when I was trying to find
it's
appropriate way.
humanizing it a little more. I like
Right,
that,
right, right,
right? It's like it's making it not such a big deal, which I think
right.
a lot of us are realizing. I have some other theories about neurodivergence and stuff, and I can go all into that, but just specifically about myself, I followed a couple content creators, namely her name is Kaylin, and I believe she was on Love on the Spectrum.
Oh, I've
And
heard her.
she,
Yeah.
yeah, follow her if you don't. She is, and she also says she doesn't like the term high functioning autism. So I'm still learning a lot of these terms
Yeah.
just
I'm
because
sure
it
it's a really,
implies
yeah, I was,
other things, right? So there's some ableism and things like that that go into it. But she shares a lot of content about her moving through the world, similar to ways that I do sometimes, but then in live time calling out the things that aren't in congruence with like what society deems appropriate behavior. So she'll be like, she'll record herself asking to get a bag for her things at the store, and the person's not paying attention, and she just goes behind the thing and grabs the bag and starts bagging her stuff. And then she'll share that clip and go, "This was fine, but like." Not everybody's going to do, like, you know, that's not societally appropriate, right?
right.
My brain goes, this is an efficient way to do something, but it's kind of like going against the social. And I think anybody who is neurodivergent that is self-aware has moments like this all the time where you're
Right.
like, oh, like you kind of catch yourself doing something that you're like, it's a little different, or someone might look at you weird or whatever it may be. So I think I've had enough of those things happen that I started to kind of look into it, and I'm
Yeah.
starting to really resonate with content that is speaking to that. And so to speak to answer your point, a lot of people are so bent on finding a diagnosis to say, here my AirPod cut out, so I don't know if you can hear
That's
me.
okay. It's okay. Yeah.
To say that their behavior is justified.
Yeah.
Whereas I almost am not, I don't know if I want or need to necessarily get a formal diagnosis. I just find comfort in circles that I haven't explored before.
I was
Does that
just
make
going to say
sense?
there's a community.
Correct.
Okay.
And I've stopped kind of trying to play everybody's game and trying to really step into what, you know, people will really tell you, especially successful content creators, for example.
Right.
Just be you and people will find you. It's so tempting to like try to play the game of like, what does society want? And how's that working out for us?
Right. Right.
Not great as a society, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of like, I think I think diagnoses are important to a point, but having the diagnosis doesn't solve your problems,
Right.
if that makes sense.
Well, and it's not like you're seeking medical, like medications or anything like that. I mean, I don't, you know what I mean? I don't know. Like, for example, not neurodivergent at all.
Sure.
In a similar situation when and this was still in Colorado, where I was like, oh my God, I have crippling anxiety. You know, like we're all kind of anxious, right? We all have a little bit of ADD I mean, I'm speculating, but remember how everyone was like, ADD for a long time was like, oh,
Yes.
you need medication. And then it
Yeah.
was everyone.
That was like when
kinda-
I was growing up, probably in like high school and stuff. I'm 32,
Right.
so I was diagnosed in that era. Like middle
Right.
school, high school for me was like, it's like this big thing, and parents are worried, and we got to get our kids medicated,
Right.
and that was me for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what? And then it became, hey, don't eat that. Hey, my French bulldogs are just on a tear today. Anyway, so then it became, you know, oh my God, you're depressed and have anxiety. Same thing. Take all this medication, which
Right.
by the way, I say on my show all the time. I take stop it. I take medication for my anxiety and depression and crippling insomnia. And it works for me, but a lot of people, the same thing. For me, I just was like, I'm not alone in all of these feelings that are on the checklist of someone who has crippling anxiety. And so it made me feel better to go, I'm not alone. Or then when I meet someone like
Right.
Dave and I go, Dave, oh my God, you're like me. You don't take medication for it? But we're the same, right, Dave? So things like that. I mean, obviously, two totally different things, but what you're saying about being a part of a community, that helped me a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah. So I completely agree with you. Like, and I think, and that's not to say that medication is wrong or a diagnosis is wrong, right? Like
Right.
I take Zoloft, I have anxiety.
it has
Right.
helped me tremendously. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it's the only thing I take, and it has completely changed my relationship with anxiety personally. And I
And
recommend it to people that have that. And
as a parent, I'm sorry, but
yeah,
you can't really live without it these days.
yeah, no, you know, and like I'm kind of very open about this kind of stuff because I think we've, as a society, we've kind of demonized it, and I don't really
Yeah.
understand why help is so hard, like why we make it so hard for people to get the help that they need, right? So I'm very vocal about, like, you know, what works for me. But like you know, I couldn't really find tools to get a handle on that on my own. What I have been able to, like, even a long time ago, you know, I'm putting things in my shoes to remind me when I'm going to leave because I step on something in my shoe and I'm like, oh yeah, like I've come up with tools throughout my life to help me
Yeah. Yeah.
just through my own ingenuity, not realizing that other people weren't having to do that kind of thing, right? So like I'm kind of at this place in my life where I'm like, I could go get a formal diagnosis. I have suspicions based on some of my behaviors. I think anybody
Right.
probably remembers from our group in Denver. You know, I'm very intense and very. I mean, we call it what it is. We're very similar in that way. We're very
Yeah.
passionate, intense people, right? But
Yeah.
it's because we care a lot about what we care a lot about. And I realize sometimes, like what I'm realizing lately, is that I get burned out because I get so hyper focused
Yeah.
on something that I want to do. So
Yeah.
I really love community. I wanted to build a community. I love dance music. I was like, we're in Denver. Let's get everybody together. And I'm going to like plan shows all the time and do
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
and do that. And then you start to lose sight of the fact that it's about having fun.
Yeah.
Right. So
It
like
becomes
that
a
happens to
job,
me a
right?
lot where I like
Yeah.
get super obsessed with something and then it's not fun anymore. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that might actually be something that not everybody experiences. And
Yeah.
maybe I need to dig into that more, you
Yeah.
know?
So
And
now
for some
how?
people, they can't get a handle on that, and they need medication or they need a diagnosis. I
Right.
don't know that I do, so I just like to share that too. Like, it's not necessarily the diagnosis that will solve the problem.
Well,
You know?
and I think that Alba says hello. By the way, she texted me. She's out to dinner.
Hi, Alba.
I love her so much. Talk about a journey. That poor lady.
Yeah,
Gosh, I would like. I always complain like, oh my god, my life is so hard, and then I'm like, my girl Alba is fucking slaying out there. Just, you know what I mean?
I
Anyway,
do.
I think that when, like, you talk about not needing medication, and I think where the medications can come in is where your shit starts to hurt other people,
Yeah,
right? And the ones that, like, you're married, for example. You know, I have a kid. Um, Dave is, you know, pretty, like, he's got a handle on how crazy I can be. And look at, I mean, look, he's all chill there right now. And that's kind of how he's grown in general. But like, when my problems and my feelings started to really affect everybody else and hurt those around me, that's when I was like, I can't do this on my own. And there are a lot of people that go, I need more help. And it may not
yeah,
be in the form of medication. It could be
no,
therapy. It could be groups. Like you said,
correct.
I think this ability to have content creators that you can follow and people sharing their journey, or just even shows like this, you know, like
It
it's
could be
important.
meaning. It could be meaningful intentional drug use. Like that. There's a lot of things.
There's
Seriously, you know,
I'll share it.
psilocybin
I
and weed and stuff like that.
I
Yeah.
will share that in the form that I've my what do you call it, my what's her name, my rep Stephanie, she's always like, say it like you're on an organic journey. So the things that you just said have really worked for me with the microdosing
Right.
and the psilocybin. Huge change from snorting things to keep me awake and thinking that that was the motivation that I needed to get shit done. Started to hurt me so much over time. And in a few of my shows, a couple episodes ago, I said, I've gained 6 pounds. Oh, the baby. I've gained 6 pounds because of those organic, you know, intentional things that have helped me get reset in my brain as well.
Yes.
So I feel you on that. It's I hate to be like MILF Hotline and do that, you know, but I will say, like, it's changed my life a lot, big time.
And I'm here. Just give me one moment.
Yeah. Look at this dog, by the way, just absolutely hogging the show. While he's on pause really quick, I talked to her previous owner, Gennaro, today, and let him know that she's going to be having puppies. And he, like, because I was a little worried he was going to be mad. And he was like, oh, I'm so excited. Can I have one? And I was like, maybe. Because I'm definitely keeping one and calling it Tauntaun.
Well, she's gonna have like 30 of them, right? Isn't that
Oh
the way
God,
it
I
works?
hope not. Oh my God.
I don't know anything about dogs having litters, so.
I think it just depends on the dog. I mean, Ralphie was one of 8. Oh my God, I wish you could see him right now. He's just chilling. While we're waiting for, oh, there you are. Okay, never mind. Dave, you're off the hook again.
Perfect. All right.
And I got
Okay,
I could probably run another question, and then
no,
I'll
you're
have to
okay.
run bedtime
Okay,
for little guy, but this is great.
let, let me ask. My biggest thing is when you kind of started having these realizations that you, Jesse, is she getting a bump? Yes. Oh, yeah. Wait, hold on. He means this kind of bump. You know, this is where my brain goes. Like, so my dog is pregnant. So she's super, like, and I said, she's like gonna have big babies. Okay, when you kind of started to realize that you had a diagnosis, right? Did that hinder or help you at all? Like, were you like, oh my God, you know, we kind of talked about not weaponizing it. Was it like, I have this now, this is how I'm going to approach things from now on?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped for sure. I'm trying to think of what the catalyst. I mean, there's a big. I won't get into it, but there's a big like life situation that
Yeah, I
about
know
my
you were.
past that basically I'm pretty open book, but I don't want to
Yeah, yeah,
detour.
yeah,
But
yeah.
just a situation about just my life that kind of recontextualized some things. Something big
Yes,
happened
yeah,
that I never knew, and it kind of whatever. But that caused me to have some clarity that I hadn't had before, and so it
yeah,
caused me to kind of see myself a little more clearly than I had before.
yeah.
And then that in combination with therapy, which I will always recommend. Find a good therapist, though. Find somebody who speaks to you like you would speak to a friend. If somebody does not, like, therapy is not meant to be a stuffy random stranger. It's meant to be somebody who you feel like you can confide in and sees you and hears you.
Uh-huh.
I like to share that because I have a great therapist, and the biggest
Oh,
issue I had before was bad therapy. So,
my
um,
therapist is still in Colorado, and she looks just like me, right? But she's super fucking badass. She rides motorcycles, right? Also has a kid from a previous, and
you
they
want to be able
got
to
her.
relate you want to be able to relate to them, because then you feel like you can open up. But
Yeah,
that I think through a combination of things, it
yeah,
just I think I started to just question, like, this hyper fixating aspect I have, this intensity that I have, maybe that was something that was maybe pushing people away or cause, I grew up in a small rural town in Pennsylvania, and I don't think people could handle me there.
right.
I speak very directly, which is a big, as probably know, it's direct and blunt speaking, and honesty is a hallmark of autism. It's one of the things, like, I just can't help it. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
this is the most efficient way to say this, so I'm
yeah,
just going to say it because I can't, you know what I mean? I can't.
yeah. Your brain
If
lacks
I have to, I will, but it's like, I just want to say the thing that I want to say,
totally.
and
I'm the
and
same way too.
those things scare the hell out of people, to be honest with you. They're, like, you
Yeah,
can't handle the truth is a real thing. It's a lot of people can't,
it's
and that's why it's important to, like, just show up the way you show up. And, like, I'm realizing this in real time, like, literally
yeah,
in the past couple of months, right?
yeah.
Don't chase other people, just show up as you and let people gravitate around your orbit, because once that happens, suddenly you look around and you're surrounded by people who love you for who you are,
I
and
know
not people that you're constantly trying to, like, get to like you, right?
that is.
And that's
Yeah,
it's
that's a
such a hard thing to learn. And
yeah,
especially, I mean, that's a normal neurotypical neurodivergent, whatever, that's just society, right? But, like,
yeah.
it's even doubly harder for people on the spectrum or neurodivergent or whatever it may be. And so that would be my imparting words, is like, it absolutely helped. If anybody's watching and is curious, just start looking at different content and see if anything resonates,
Yeah.
and could just help your view of yourself and the world.
You
So,
got to live your most authentic self. I know that's a cliche thing that people keep throwing around, but it is so true. You know, you got to be you. And as unapologetic and unfiltered as it is, you have to be.
and it ain't easy. I'm on the beginning journey of that, even though it may not seem like it from the people that know me, like,
Yeah.
at least outwardly, like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm a very unassuming white guy from Denver, but, like, outwardly, inwardly, I'm a very colorful, vibrant person,
Yeah.
and I haven't really let myself kind of, you know, put that out there as much, except for places like festivals or things like
Yeah.
that. And I think that's why a lot of neurodivergent people find themselves in those spaces. Or, you know, gaming as well is another community of
Yeah.
people that they find a home there because it's a place where they can express without society's BS, you know? So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
always a learning journey. It's always a
I've
learning journey.
always seen you as vibrant and engaging. So if that's any consolation, maybe we're both the same diagnosis. But you've always
Could
been
be.
you've always been such a great friend to me. I thought that you know, like I always tell my friends, especially in Denver, like or even like my friends in the chat right now, or just my friends in general, like I'm not a great friend that way sometimes. I don't always stay in touch, but I always am thinking about all of you guys. And I love that social media. Like I could be like, Austin, hey, you want to be on the show?
And
And
I'm like, actually, this is exactly what
yeah,
is happening in my life right now. Of course I
I,
will. You know, if my story can help anybody, you know,
yeah,
I'm figuring it out as I go. Every day I'm waking up like, who am I again? What am
yeah,
I
no,
doing? You know?
I really
So,
appreciate
yeah,
you coming on and sharing your journey. I know you got to go.
absolutely.
Obviously we'll stay in touch and I want you and Dave to become best friends because,
I'll let you know when I platinum Penny's Big Breakaway.
yes,
Perfect. Yeah.
please tell Jasmine I said
I
hi
do
from me.
genuinely plan to play it though. It's too much of a coincidence, and I have heard of the game, so we're gonna boot
Well,
it up.
oh
Yep.
my God, Dave, can we,
It's great to hear.
we're
Yeah.
going to do it on Twitch, you said, right, Austin?
I mean, hey, yeah, I do stream quite a bit, so
Oh my
maybe
All
I'll
right.
God.
throw it up
Okay.
there. I'll let you know.
Yes. Send me the link and I'll hop on.
Oh my God,
Okay.
same. All right,
All
Austin,
right, y'all
thank
take
you so
care.
much.
All
All right,
right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yep, bye.
Bye. All right, Dave, I got some questions for you.
Oh, for me. Okay.
Okay, not for you because I think that you have a diagnosis. I just want to, I
Mhm.
have some really awesome questions lined up. I also like really am liking this platform, not to shit on TikTok at all. You know what I mean? Obviously, we'll go back to TikTok next week. Uh,
Mhm.
but I like the split screen. Like this is really working for
It's
me.
nice. And I'm sure you could probably add more people too with video.
I don't know. It's a lot less complicated on Instagram Live for sure. But anyway, so okay, a couple of things I wanted to kind of touch on before I wrapped up was
Okay.
we talked about like some people like Austin was sharing his journey about like feeling like, oh my God, these things about me are leading me to think that I have a diagnosis, right?
Right.
Where do you think? I'm just pulling up. I'm trying to phrase it in a way that's not rude, but like, why do you think that people these days are so quick to say that they're neurodivergent? I don't want to say personality disorder, right? Because that's not what it is.
Hmm.
Why do you think that people are so quick to be like, oh, this is an excuse for my bad behavior because I'm autistic? Like, why do you think people are doing that? Is it
Hmm.
that hard to just be like for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm just kind of I don't want to say I'm a bitch, but I'm just like, I'm very unfiltered, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't necessarily really speak to people's motivations for maybe hiding bad behavior, but
Right.
what I will say in terms of like, people, kind of like calling out the potential for them to have some kind of like, diagnosis or stuff like that is because I think, society now, and it's a good thing that they're a lot more open about the fact that, there isn't one kind of like one fits all kind of diagnosis for everybody, right? Like there's different people who have who are on the spectrum, not in terms of, not just in terms of neurodivergence, but like, in terms of like depression and
Right.
anxiety as well. And I think it's healthy for society to have that, conversation and to have resources that allow people to kind of, figure out if there is something different about them, right? And to kind of like, find the resources to like help them have a more formal diagnosis. But,
Right.
I think they're probably tied in some way. I mean, I think the ability to like, find out that there is something different about yourself, has some connection with, potentially hiding behind that if there is bad behavior. But I mean, I think in general, the conversation has become more open, and I think people just, are willing to kind of like step into that chat, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Whether
Well,
it's for good or bad behavior, right?
do you think that, we're living in this time, right, where it's like, live your most authentic self and speak your truth? And do you think that some people are just like either ashamed of speaking their truth or being their most authentic self, so they're going to hide behind uh, a fake or like a false diagnosis? Like some people are like,
I mean,
uh,
I think diagnosis or not, being able to kind of be authentic to yourself is just something that, doesn't isn't just necessarily isolated to like neurodivergence or anything like that. I
Right.
mean, I think it generally it is hard to kind of like be genuine and to be authentic because, so much of who we are can be wrapped up with like, let's say, societal norms or how we want to be perceived by our peers or social media. That I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's a very kind of like, complex question, right? And I think it's more, maybe tied to how you see yourself and how you want to be seen than
Yeah.
anything else. And, I think that's independent of a kind of, a diagnosis of any kind.
Yeah.
I think in general, like it's just hard to be authentic.
I,
But I think when you add additional layers to it, especially if there is some, some neurodivergence, then, that further complicates things.
I feel like a lot of times for me personally, being in my 40s, right? Even though, I know I look so good today, but most of the days I look like I'm in my 50s, 60s. Like, I think for me, for example, a lot of these, like what Austin was saying, like, oh, I just have to say it or I just have to do it. It keeps me from being able to relate to a lot of people
Mhm.
because I don't, like, I'm not fake, right? I'm very, like, in your face. Like, we've talked about it. Um,
You're
I
you're very forthright. Yes, that is
There you
correct.
go. That's the word I'm looking for. Like, even if Jesse's still out there, like I said, like if I'm not being a good friend to my friends if I don't let them know, hey, this kind of hurts my feelings as a friend, right? Whereas a lot of
Mhm.
people would be like, this isn't the hill I want to die. I'm going to take that to my grave. In order for me to be the best friend or person that I can be in each situation, I feel like I have to be like I have to say it. And that keeps me from being able to be in a lot of or to work in a lot of corporate situations. Like I don't know that Evening Star would be like, Jennifer Dallas, you're great and all, but you are a human resources nightmare.
Well, I mean, I think in situations like that, it's definitely a two-way street, right? Especially when you're talking in terms of friendship.
Right.
Because I mean, I think there is like, like for instance, in terms of somebody who's very blunt about their way of speaking and, just blunt in general and right in your face with honesty. That's one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is somebody like on the other side who, potentially is fine with that kind of behavior and what that kind of honesty or not, and not everybody is. I mean, I think that's the if you're just talking about, a platonic relationship, like, friendship itself can kind of come in different, can come in like different forms. But I
Right.
think at heart, part of it is accepting who the other person is, right? And sometimes maybe it's not acceptable and it's fine to move on. But I think, when you're willing to kind of maintain that friendship, and kind of recognize that maybe, somebody isn't being honest just to be an asshole, but just because that's the way they are,
Right.
then I think part of it is really kind of accepting that and, learning how to kind of roll that into something that works for you as well.
And I think going back to people that are legitimately neurodivergent, or like in Austin's case, where he's like, I haven't
Hmm.
had a formal diagnosis, but I've had all of these things kind of line up, and that, the way that I am, he's not trying to weaponize or excuse the way that he is. Like when he was saying, I like to organize a lot of things, and then I get burnt out, and it's like, I can relate to that in so many ways, but I think I get burnt out personally because I'm intense and I just get tired and my struggles are real. I think that some people that really are struggling with adult diagnoses and things like that, like they do have it hard, and the people that I've met that are neurodivergent, like true, are not saying to me, "Oh, it's because I'm neurodivergent. That's why I said it like that." They're
Hmm.
not using it as an excuse. They don't even say it at all. And I have a few friends on the spectrum that if I didn't hear them say it to me, I wouldn't know because they're not like, no one's calling me out and then saying like, oh, it's because I'm neurodivergent. I have to say it to you like that, Jen. I think if you have to say it, I don't know. Like, are you really neurodivergent then? Or
I mean, I
do
think,
you have to
okay.
prep somebody? Like, that's another thing. Like, should you be prepping someone if you're
I mean, I think sometimes it can be very helpful, right? I mean, maybe, if you're dealing with somebody that comes from a culture that really doesn't, kind of address neurodivergence as something that is, completely normal and healthy to talk about.
Right.
And I think and maybe even in the dating world as well, right? I mean, I think there are various people who really want to know what they get themselves into. So I think being honest about that isn't necessarily really a bad thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it really kind of comes down to intent. If the intent is to kind of educate and to make sure that, somebody feels comfortable talking to somebody who is neurodivergent, I think that's totally acceptable and fine.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think, in today's world, being honest about that kind of stuff up front is certainly helpful. But I think on the other side, you never really know how people are going to respond. But, I think without that honesty, it's really hard to kind of take the following steps, right?
Yeah, totally. I know that when I was working at that one place where the dogs were,
The one place, yeah.
place that sucked. Um,
Yeah. Hmm.
you know,
I
we're
know.
not saying names, but whatever. But what I'm saying, like, my thing was after like a week, and I was called in, and they were like, you cut people off and you interrupt, and these are things that I don't even think that, like, I don't notice that I'm doing. It's like what Austin was saying, like, I just got to say it the way I say it. Sometimes for me, it's like, it's here and I don't want to forget it. And in my brain, it feels so important. I got
Mhm.
to say it. But, I getting called out for that was more like, I was like embarrassed, right? Like, oh my God, I didn't realize that I still do that, right? And I'm not neurodivergent. I think I'm anxious and I have a lot to say and I don't have a lot of patience and my brain just goes, we're gonna say it all right now. And I can only imagine, my point is, I can only imagine how people that are true neurodivergent must feel when they're like, this is just how I am. I'm trying to be functional or like relate or, you know what I mean? Things like that. And
Mhm.
they really can't help themselves. Whereas me, I can just take a deep breath and go, you can finish.
Yeah.
you know? So anyway, okay, well, I think we've kind of covered everything that we needed to cover. And I am really excited that we got to try this out on TikTok. I'm sorry, on Instagram. I'm a little not embarrassed at all that TikTok felt the need to
To ban you, yeah.
slap for a week. I mean, I would get it if I was like straight up showed porn or something. You know what I mean? I
Oh, wait,
was
watch out. You might get banned from Instagram too.
oh my god, there's no way because people promote OnlyFans and shit on Instagram. But yeah, I'm not even embarrassed. So if anyone when I download the replay and I put it on TikTok, I want everyone to know that I didn't do anything bad. I was literally just saying that my sister should be called the Portland Beaver on OnlyFans because it is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this is something that you've mentioned in every episode. So who knows what it was this
Dang.
time.
Also, like, just think about it. Like Austin or any of my friends out in Denver, like Kate, she could be the Denver Bronco. What other anyway, so
Yeah.
maybe next week for next week's topic, I'll have everyone call in and say what their OnlyFans handle would be.
Yeah, we can start with intros with that, or you can. It's your show.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. I've been wanting to do the Spotify playlist, so I'm gonna be like, hey, drop your Spotify, additions, and also, what's your OnlyFans name?
Yeah. Oh,
Anyway, okay.
perfect. Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm probably gonna see you in the next few minutes. Well, not few. Let's just out of curiosity, what it's gonna take to get all the way to the west side, 20 miles, 33 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack up and do some work over
Oh,
there.
wow. All right. Yeah.
Unless you don't want me to come over.
No, please. I'm actually shocked that it's only 33 minutes to get here.
Well, it's late now.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I think the Portland Beaver, speaking of, would be really proud of you today.
Me? Well, you know what? Next week I'll be able to hand the reins back to her.
Yeah, yeah. You'll still be there, though.
I'll be here, yes.
Okay. Well, thanks for being on the hotline. And everybody still in the chat, thanks for joining. And we'll see you next week. Okay, no, wait. How do I shut this one off? I
I
already.
don't-
Oh, okay, I'm just going to hit X and hopefully that ends it.
There you go. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.